Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that happens constantly every single second, but we almost never think about it. How our data gets from A to B securely. We're going to follow the journey of your private info as it travels across the wide open internet.
I mean, really, have you ever wondered, you hit send on an email, you post a picture, you buy something, and it just, vanishes into the ether. But where does it actually go? How does it stay safe? Well, that's exactly the trip we're about to take.
And this awesome hand-drawn diagram is going to be our roadmap. It lays out the entire life of a single piece of data, all happening under something called the Secure Data Transmission Protocol, or SDTP for short. We're going to walk through this step by step.
So, where does a secure journey like this even begin? Well, it's not with some fancy server or a piece of code. It starts with a person. It starts with you. You're the data owner.
Yep, the whole process kicks off right here with the data owner. You create some private data, could be anything, a message, a file, you name it. And that becomes the precious cargo that needs to be delivered safe and sound.
Now, before that data goes anywhere, something absolutely crucial happens. It gets what's called a data signature. The best way to think about this is like an old-school wax seal on a royal letter. It proves two really important things. One, that the data really truly came from you. And two, that nobody has messed with it along the way. It's a completely unique, unforgeable guarantee.
Okay, so with that digital seal applied, our data is ready to be prepped for its big journey. It's no longer just a piece of info. It's now a secure, verifiable package. So your freshly signed data doesn't just get chucked out onto the internet. First, it gets applied to what our diagram calls a private data server. You can think of this as your own personal, super secure digital post office. It's just holding on to your sealed letter waiting for the signal to send it out. So what's actually in this digital package? Well, if you look at the example here, it's made up of three key parts. The owner, which says who you are, the owner's signature, which is that digital seal we just talked about, and of course the data payload. That's the actual stuff you're trying to send.
And this breaks it down even further. You've got the data itself and the signature to prove it's legit. But look at that middle part, a universal standard. This is so important. It's like a universal language or a universal adapter, making sure that whatever system gets this data knows exactly how to read it. It's all about making sure everything can talk to each other smoothly.
All right, our data packet is signed, sealed, and standardized. It's sitting on that private server, raring to go. Now comes the really big jump, crossing the wild public internet. How on earth does it do that safely? And this, my friends, is where the hero of our story steps in, SDTP, the Secure Data Transmission Protocol. You know, a protocol is really just a fancy word for a set of rules. And SDTP is the rulebook that makes sure our signed data packet can get from point A to point B across the internet without any trouble.
You can see the journey right here. That little packet leaves the safety of the private server and, thanks to the SDTP rules, it navigates through the cloud, which is just a nice way of saying the internet, all the way to its destination. This protocol is basically the data's personal bodyguard during its most vulnerable moment.
So, it made it. The journey across the internet is over, and the data has arrived safely. But its job isn't done yet. Now it needs to be unpacked, processed, and actually put to use.
If we follow the path on our map, the data comes out of the internet cloud and lands in processing. This is where it gets unboxed and prepped before it moves to the final stage, consumption, where different web services finally get to use it. Its arrival is really just the beginning of the end of its journey.
But hold on, there's a really interesting little detail in that processing box. You see that symbol for AI? So what's artificial intelligence doing in the middle of all this? Well, according to our guide here, the AI steps in during that processing phase. It seems like its job is to be an intelligent gatekeeper. Maybe it's sorting the data, doing an extra verification step, or even optimizing it so it's in the perfect format for whatever platform is about to use it. And what are those platforms? Well, basically, the whole internet. The diagram shows the data can be used by the general web, but it also calls out Web 2, which is the social, interactive web we all use every day, and even Web 3. That new decentralized web that's being built. It just goes to show this protocol is built for today and for tomorrow. So, the data was created, signed, sent, processed, and used. That's the end of the story, right? Not quite. Our diagram shows one last and honestly pretty brilliant final step. Take a look at this arrow here labeled the data consumption pipeline. This is amazing. It creates a feedback loop that goes from the web services all the way back to you, the original data owner. This means it's not just about sending data out into the void, it's about staying connected to it. This could be anything from a simple delivery receipt to a full report on how your data was used. It completes the circuit and keeps you in the driver's seat.
And that's the whole shebang. It's not a one-way street at all. It's a complete, secure, and verifiable loop. It starts with the owner, goes out into the world with a secure protocol, and then there's a feedback channel that comes right back to the beginning.
Which leaves us with a really big question to chew on. This whole system is built on proof, on security, and on keeping the owner in control. So just imagine for a second, what would our digital world feel like if every single bit of data we ever sent followed a transparent, secure path just like this one? It's something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.